done a heap of work with companies of all sizes. So executive coaching. Tell me a bit about the kinds of problems that you help coaching.
It's all about people, and even if they're executives or managers, they may have been promoted because of their technical expertise, but not necessarily because of their people expertise. So I help them be more effective with people.
That's an interesting point you raise. So often people are almost promoted beyond their competence. You know, they're good, promoted, not good.
Yes.
So typically what kind of problems would you work on?
Well, a lot of them are just knowing how to communicate with their people in a way that is empowering and inspiring and motivating versus demotivating or humiliating in some cases.
Yeah, because I mean, a lot of people don't have that formal training in how to manage staff or how to inspire people. So how do you get around that?
So some of them actually think it's common sense. So they would not take a seminar or engage a coach until there's been a problem.
Yeah.
Or if they're really on the ball, they will say, no matter how good I am, I can always be better.
Yeah.
And they will engage somebody like me to either do a seminar for their company or a keynote for their company or work with them individually.
Yeah, that's a really good point that you make, because actually I think people think that speaking is common sense. We all grow up speaking, you know, we know how to do it, and yet when it comes to that communication for effectiveness, perhaps we're a bit lacking.
Right, and unless they really notice the impact of their words on other people, they're just oblivious and they go around doing whatever they would do, and they're leaving a trail of disaster behind them, both personally and professionally.
Yeah, so people will contact you when they see a problem, they realize their communication has created something. What kinds of problems are occurring?
Well, often it's they have not told their staff that there is an issue with their performance until the annual evaluation.
Right.
And so then the staff, the employee says, why didn't you tell me earlier? I could have been working on this all year versus just waiting once a year. And then the employees resent it. They are not motivated. They will often leave because of the manager's ineffectiveness.
You know, it's about knowing when to speak and when not to speak, maybe.
Right. So I just released my 26th book last year.
Oh my goodness.
Called Extraordinary Leadership Lessons from Everyday People. And in it, while I was working on this, I thought about this issue that you raised. And I thought, well, really there's a continuum of honesty and knowing when and how to be honest and when not to, or when to hold back a little bit. So on this end is the completely honest. They will say anything that's on their mind. They tell you anything, whether you want to hear it or not, right?
And you're kind of like, oh, I shouldn't be hearing this,
right.
yeah.
And then on the other end is more of a filtered. So this is unfiltered, this is the filtered in. And those are the people who are so timid that they don't say anything. And these are those executives or managers who don't speak up when there is a performance issue that could be improved. Yeah. So let's just take a personal example on the continuum. So if you have a new pair of jeans and you say, so Rebecca, do these jeans make me look
fat?
Fat, exactly.
Yes.
Thank you. Fat.
See, I'm a blurter.
I know, but I wanted you to blurt. It's okay. I invited you to blurt. So I have to decide where on that continuum do I share with you my opinion about this and how to share my opinion. So if we're really good mates and I think we're friends and I can say anything to you, then I'll be more on this end and say, you know, Cath, those are probably not the best cut for you. You know, I'm going to finesse how I say it, right? So I'm maybe not all the way to the end, but I'm close. I'm telling you really what I think would be in your best interest. If I barely know you and I want to stay on your good side, or I'm afraid of how the repercussions, I'm more likely to be on this end and say, oh, Cath, you look great in everything. Yeah. Right? So as an executive, or a manager, you have to decide where on this continuum is going to best serve the outcome that I want.
So what advice can you give, depending on which end of the spectrum you're at? How do we solve this?
So I try to get people to be more introspective and step back and think a moment before whatever comes out of their mouth comes out of their mouth. Plop, and then you can't get it back. Yeah. So what outcome would you like out of this? Yeah. Would you like to create a stronger alliance? And if you need to be on the end that is a blurter, then how can I phrase it? How can I finesse it so it's not painful or harmful to the person? It doesn't get in the way of the relationship. Yeah.
And, you know, whether someone is timid or aggressive, you know, whichever end of the spectrum, is that personality? Is it environment? You know, why do we choose one end over another?
I find it's just behavior, and humans tend to do what they perceive has worked in the past. So if it has worked once, then that's the data they have. And so they think, oh, this will work every time, even though we know it doesn't.
Yeah. And actually that's from childhood, isn't it? We find a way to get what we want or to survive in the world or whatever.
Exactly. And we don't modify that a lot. Some of us do. Some of us really work at being the best that we can be.
Yeah.
But others think what I'm doing was working, so I might as well keep doing it.
Yep, this is my way, take it or leave it.
That's right.
Yeah,
That's right.
Okay. So how easy then is it for a person to change that behaviour?
I think personally it's the thinking. It's just the stepping back before you open your mouth or put finger to keyboard in some cases. Just thinking, what is it I want to have as a result of this, and how would I best go about that? Not in a manipulative way, just in a strategic way.
Yeah. Yeah, and a kind of, getting along in the world kind of way too. Those kind of areas of conflict don't really serve anyone.
No, and I find family members tend to be more on this end.
Yeah.
They tend to think, well, I'm your mom, I can say whatever I want. And they have no idea how hurtful those comments can be and how they can last for decades.
Yeah.
And as Michael pointed out, how they can get in the way of you really having confidence to take risks and try new things.
Yeah.
Because your mom said something, your dad said something, or a coach or a teacher that has really prevented you from going further.
Yeah. And actually, you've been on 60 Minutes, you've been on Oprah as well.
I have.
Oh, we're in good company.
Yes.
Been on Oprah. Oprah. That's great. That's great. Okay. And what did you share with Oprah?
I was on Oprah's show because one of my 26 books is on how to calm down upset customers.
Oh.
So I was on as the expert for customers from hell.
Oh, yeah.
And so she liked my show so much, she chose to show it again when she was on vacation, and they say she only chooses her favorite shows of the year to show again.
Cool. Well, maybe I will show this show. It's great. It's great. But before we wrap up, what would your top tip be for executives on the subject of communication or difficult conversations of any kind?
Mostly it's be conscious of what your desired outcome is, and step back and be thoughtful. You can be candid, but you candor with kindness.
Oh, I like that. Candor with kindness. Great tip. Thank you.